name's Jackson, and I'm here at Bullis Outdoors again. And today you're going to be hearing the story on Melvin. So Melvin was a deer I've had quite a bit of history with. I've had him on camera for the past 4 or 5 years. And all kind of started back in 2020 when I was during the COVID era. Whenever I was setting up a tree stand with my father, and this buck was like 30 yards from us, just kind of minding his own business, didn't care that we were there. And this was like in the middle of deer season too. And so we kind of just gave him that name Melvin. Just like, oh, it's Melvin, just kind of a funny name. But he'd always been around in that area. And when I was actually hunting this deer right here, the G2 buck, back in 2021, he was just one of those younger bucks I was kind of always around. But after 2 years after that, going into the 2023 deer season, he was pretty decent. He was a big 8-point, started to develop that belly with the neck, his nose kind of shortened up to be one like the Roman nose you kind of see in the older deer. But I assumed he was 5.5, just kind of judging on him. And whenever he was around during the G2 buck era, and so I was like, I want to give him 1 more year, because the oldest buck I've killed they were both 5.5, and I was like, I just want to see what he could do if he makes it through. And fortunately enough, he made it through. And didn't have many pictures of him going into this deer season, as I'm up in school in Missouri, and I can't have any cellular cameras around our property because there's no cell service. So I had some photos of him in velvet, and he looked pretty decent, so I just didn't really know what he looks like. But with that being said, here's the story of Melvin. Stay tuned.
Alright, just to give you an idea of the history of Melvin, this was the video I took when me and my dad were setting up that tree stand in 2020. Nothing special, he's a young buck. Fast forward in 2021, this is what he looked like. I thought he was 3.5. He looking like started to mature a little bit. And then this was him in 2022, starting to get a little bit thicker, antlers get a little bigger, and so this is a cool video of him walking through one day. So it's definitely mature. So he's traveling by himself, kind of knows what he's doing. And then the next year, 2023, this was last year, he kind of made that jump to that mature big dog buck. So he's got that saggy belly, thick neck, short nose, and his antlers are looking pretty heavy. So this is what I assume was his peak year. He's either 5.5 or 6.5. And this next year I didn't have many photos of him hardhorn, but I had some from the summer. And so he was pushing that 9th point, and his brow tine has that little kicker, as you can see. So this is all I really knew going into this deer season.
Good morning. It is currently 5:20 a.m. It's it's November 26th, and the temperature's dropped. It's currently 42 degrees. Yesterday at this time it was 57. So we got at least a 15-degree difference. And it's real windy, and the wind will be in our favor. It will be blowing into my face. So anything at the feeder won't be able to smell me or catch my wind. They'll have to get behind me, but should be a good day. So hopefully we'll see a mature buck and we'll drop him. So I'll see you out there in the stand. 26th. I got up, got to the stand about 5:30 a.m. and sat till about 1:30. Temperature dropped, like I said, it's about 45 this morning, which is 15 degrees cooler than yesterday. And I saw a lot. I saw 5 different bucks, 2 that I would say about 3.5. They're pretty decent, but just too young. I saw a lot of does, saw a couple yearlings too with their mom, so that was pretty cool. And then also I had the pigs come in. I was debating about shooting them, but I don't want to ruin the hunt or anything, you know. So, but yeah, headed back. I ain't gonna hunt this afternoon. I don't think it'll be worth anything. At least for me, I gotta finish up a paper. But I'll be back out there either tomorrow or Friday. Tomorrow's probably a little bit warmer, but about the same. And then Friday should be down to 40. So we'll see. But then just stay tuned.
Matt. Matt.
We just smoked him. It is the day after Thanksgiving, the 29th. It's real cold. It's like 38 degrees this morning. I'm still shaking. But he came in on chasing a doe, which is weird because the rut's not really doe. Mid-December, but it's cold, so this weather's kind of got him like up and going and trying to mark their does. But he came in and I was like, that's a big buck. And last year he was an 8-point, and I didn't have any photos of him out of velvet, and I had to go check, and he had this hook going up on the left, and none of the other bucks I've seen had that. So like, alright, 40 yards. Oh my gosh. Man, he's an old buck. You can just tell he's got a big old body. Set him up. Damn. Thank you. He ain't the biggest, but it's just so cool. But thank you. He knows me. Alright. This is Melvin. So I had a history with this buck for about 4 years now. When I was hunting the big G2 buck I shot back in 2021, this guy was one of the younger bucks. And so the cool story about him and why I named him Melvin was when me and my dad were putting a tree stand right in that tree about 4 years ago, 2020 during COVID. He was right over there at our feeder. Didn't even care that we were there. It was 20 yards. We're like, ah, that's Melvin, you know. But I've been watching this deer. I had him on camera for the past 4 years. Last year he was 5.5, and he was a big boy. He was just an 8-pointer last year. Kind of had the same build here, but I was like, I want one more year. I want to see what happens, you know. And so we let him go. He came back. We didn't have that much rain this year, not a lot of growing, but he came back and he popped out a little 9-pointer, little point at the end right there. But it's not as big as last year, but he's just cool. He's an old buck. You can see he's got a big belly, his nose is shorter, and his thick neck. And this morning when he came in, he was coming in on a doe, and it was kind of first light, and I was like, that's a big bodied deer. I couldn't really see his rack. Thought he was a 9-pointer. I was checking all the photos I had of him, and I was like, he's the only buck I have on camera that's been pushing a 9-point up on that left side. So I was like, oh, if he comes back, he ain't gonna be leaving with that doe. So he came back about 20 minutes later. You can see in the video, I had to yell. I was like, Matt, Matt, and then he finally stopped. And so that's the story of Melvin. But I'm just so thankful. Yesterday was Thanksgiving. This is awesome getting to be with the family, and now being out here and killing this deer I've been trying to, or just kind of grown with. Not a relationship, but it's just nice finally getting him. So it's the end of a tale. This is probably, it's not my biggest buck, but definitely my coolest and my favorite buck. So I just want to thank all the people who got me into hunting. My dad, especially my Uncle Roger, he's always been there. He's kind of helped build my passion for this. I love hunting. I love being outdoors. I love watching these animals, letting them grow. It's awesome. But that's the story of Melvin. I got him done before I go back to school. But that's about it. We're gonna get some photos and then field dress them, and we'll be out of here. But thank you, guy. But just wanna say a prayer real quick, you know. But all right. Dear God, just thank you for this day, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to pursue your creation and just be out here in the outdoors. Lord, I thank you for allowing us to get together with all our family yesterday, and I just ask that you
are with everyone and all as they gather with their families these holidays. Lord, I ask you to help us to keep living a life and representing you and do everything that we do in your name. And just thank you for this deer, Lord. Amen. But yeah. That's the story of Melvin.
Alright, after I harvested Melvin, I ended up just field dressing him and taking him to a processor. I didn't want to do a shoulder mount or anything just because he ended up being a little smaller than I thought he was. But this was him. I ended up finishing the European mount. He's not the biggest deer, but he's definitely old and unique. So one cool thing I just want to show you guys is like I said in the video, it kind of just started chasing the doe. But if you look closely down in the just down by the ACN, you can see how he's rubbing all that dirt. It's just packed in there, so that's pretty cool to see. But he ended up pitching this 9th point up this year, and his brow time's got a little kicker on it. It's kind of cool. So I mean, it's not really a 10th point. We can call him a 9 point, but yeah, that's Melvin for you. So if you want to know how I did the European mount, I'll have a video I'll probably post here in a little bit, just showing you how I did that. But the other cool thing I wanted to show you guys was I like keeping the jaws of the deer that we harvest, just so you can kind of, this is another way of aging them. But this first one was just a deer my brother harvested last year. This is a 3.5-year-old on our lease down in Texas. You kind of see how worn down his teeth are. Not really. And this was the buck I harvested last year named Flat Top. It was about 4.5-year-old. You see how his teeth are worn down. So that's just a side-by-side comparison of like a 3.5-year-old and a 4.5-year-old. And then you look at Melvin's teeth. You kind of put, he's going to be on the bottom here. Just how worn down his teeth were. So that's pretty cool just to see how old he was and just how worn down all his teeth were. And actually there's a tooth on the backside of his skull that's just almost broken that you can kind of see. But I don't know, it's just pretty cool. But I took him to get checked for CWD, even though I don't have to. And the Texas Parks and Wildlife Rangers there can actually age it for you or just tell you what they think. And when they open it up, the lady there was like, oh, it's like 8.5. And then the other dude was like, oh, he's at least 6.5. So I think I might have been wrong. I think he might have been maybe a little older than I thought. So I'm just going to say he's around 6.5, 7.5 years old. So that's pretty cool, harvesting a buck that old and watching him get that old and growing and almost not building a relationship, like I said, but just being able to watch them and just kind of study them and observe them, and then eventually being able to take them is amazing. So if you like this kind of content, I plan on trying to harvest a buck with my bow here before I go back up to school, and then in the future I plan on trying to do a little more bow hunting and expanding up into Missouri and even into southern Illinois, trying to harvest some wild game up there. So whether it's turkey or deer, coyotes, I'm gonna just stay tuned and it should be fun. So if you like this kind of content, leave a like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.